seem to have found a nice best buddy, new Middle Eastern best friend in Qatar, and the Emir of Qatar. And the story just came out on Press TV, which is really a rerun of something that was reported back in 2008, and that was that Qatar and some of these other U.S. allies could possibly play a key role. And there's an article on Infowars.com right now about that, in destabilizing the House of Saud. And, Saudi Arabia still wants some independence. Obviously, they're one of the biggest. I think Russia is officially now the biggest oil-producing country in the world. But Saudi Arabia is obviously tied, or it's significant. It's second or first or whatever. But they produce oil. They have a lot of control and a lot of power in setting the price of oil with the other OPEC nations. So, but they still want some independence. Qatar has made it known to everybody that it will get completely right into bed with the United States with regards to any of their foreign intervention projects and who knows what else.
And certainly we've seen the globalists stab their old ally Mubarak in the back in Egypt. And the word is that Saudi Arabia has been making now even public overtures to Pakistan and Russia. So they're trying to play a double game right now. But I mean, how long can this Anglo-American globalist combine get away with this?
Well, this is a good question, Alex. And you know how you sit around on Christmas. It's funny you asked that question. You sit around Christmas Day with the family. There's usually some interesting movies on. And I watched a movie called The Fall of the Roman Empire with Alec Guinness, Christopher Plummer, and Sophia Loren, I think.
That's a great movie.
It's a great film, but it had some great quotes from the narrator towards the beginning and the end. He said, "In every great empire it'll be something that falls." Something that happens within the empire that will collapse it from within Rome, and not from any of external enemies. And one of the things that made Rome, and the fall of Rome was a process as well. It wasn't an event that happened overnight. It probably took place over about 400 years.
Yeah, it began with tyranny, overthrowing the Senate, and then things just degenerated, and you saw the moral decline, the exact same thing that's been done here.
Yeah, and then so you do see, you do see this kind of you see the Caligula moral decline aspect with the United States, but also most importantly, and this is probably Ron Paul is a bit of a prophet, really, if you look at the rest of the political field. He's been the only one who has been talking about, and is still really the only one who is still talking about, the economic aspects of the empire, and the empire having to be able to stretch its borders, globally now, and also the U.S. has found a new way to co-opt future members of the Anglo-American Empire through this kind of the NATO or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or the WTO, World Trade Organization, or GATT. And they found new kind of supranational ways to co-opt partners in the future. But the message is clear. If you want to get into bed with the Anglo-American Empire, you may have a nice warm seat on the left side of the bed for a while, but sooner or later you will be kicked out of bed and kicked out of the house if you do fall out of favor.
Well, that's because it really is a new type of tyranny. There have been many systems that sought to dominate and just go ahead and exterminate the people that they'd conquered. But in this system, the scientific dictatorship, in their own words, and I was just going over some documents earlier today on this that are so shocking when you actually read it, where they say, this is a UN and Planned Parenthood, we will destroy the family, we will put chemicals in the food and water to feminize the men, we will forcibly abort them, we will bring in tyranny, and we will rout these people. And you realize it's an attack against humanity. It's a rewriting of what we were and are in our destiny. It's still keeping us around as kind of biological androids, but destroying any semblance of humanity. And, to not just have the White House science czar calling for stuff in the water, which we know they do engage in, but to have it in all these UN documents and things, and to know these little bastards have been doing it, And then to know that you can't even get mad at the general public. These are brain damaged, chemically attacked zombies. And that the few of us that are really conscious and awake to this just had a higher resistance to it. I mean, this is beyond, we're living in a science fiction movie.
It is completely science fiction. We're looking at a Twilight Zone scenario now where vitamin supplements and homeopathic remedies are being made to be licensed or illegal, and where GM corn or Agent Orange, they want to do an Agent Orange resistant Monsanto, an Agent Orange resistant strain of GM corn. Okay, why on earth would you be wanting to produce such a creature and introduce it into the biosphere unless someone's planning on using Agent Orange? I really, for the life of me, can't figure out why you would unban some of these horrible chemicals.
Well, we talked to Dr. Doug Rocky. We need to get him back on. I know he's been ill, but he was the guy that wrote, the DU program for the Pentagon, and he was talking about released Agent Orange documents, where the cover was it was to kill plants, and it had that effect too. But they knew it was a dioxin-based chemical weapon. They could get around treaties by saying it was a defoliant, but it also had, this neurotoxic effect on all animals, not just plants. And a new big study came out today that we covered in the news, where major prestigious scientific papers are coming out that all these major varieties are sterilizing people and attacking organs. I mean, again, words cannot describe. I get accused a lot of, that couldn't be that bad. He's exaggerating. No, folks. The English language cannot describe it. I guess the movie The Matrix, they say one cannot be told about the Matrix, one must see it. One cannot be told about the New World Order, folks. You just got to wake up and look into it for yourself. You're going to find out. How do I have 500 documents, that I've read and researched, and then, of how they're doing this to us, and then just try to mention a few, and people go, oh, that's not true. I'm sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
No, if you want to break, I've got skeptics that I have to deal with in my life as well. They're people in my family, they're my friends, they're my work colleagues that don't really want to believe that these things can be happening, or that someone who would have done something by now, if what you're saying is true. Really, let's break it down to a really simple equation. Look at fluoride, depleted uranium, all number of toxic banned or chemical weapons. Most of these things, if you look back and you look at the history, and you check the genealogy of all these evil things, they were waste byproducts. And they were discovered within the post-manufacturing process, okay? Certainly with the aluminium industry, I believe, created fluoride, okay? So, and then you have nuclear waste. And then you have depleted uranium, and this is constant recycling. And to make new and more weird uranium coatings and things like that, you can even recycle the recycled nuclear waste, okay? It's cheaper for them to recycle it and sell it to somebody. It's cheaper for them to dump the fluoride, find out a way to make people buy it, dump it into the water supply, and everyone makes money out of it. Or pesticides, the same thing. I wonder which came first, the pesticide or the evil pesticide or the evil killer seed. It's probably the evil pesticide.
Well, but it was Monsanto was Mr. Pesticide, and so of course they came out with poison food.
Yeah, so there's a market for rubbish, toxic rubbish, and really it's
yeah. As long as they market it, and then as long as it's poison garbage. People are, it's like, oh my, I mean, it's like these drug ads where, are you got restless feet? They kicking around a little bit at night, just some made up BS. Okay, well, take this. It may make you, in the ad, we have to dig that ad up, a compulsive gambler and go crazy. It lists all these, and it's like, got trouble, got a headache? Well, shoot yourself in the head. Your finger hurts? Chop it off with a meat cleaver. I mean, it's like you watch it, and it's like absurdist Twilight Zone. It's like you said, it's...
Well, you go out to the farmer out in Iowa, or you go to the farmer out in Nebraska, and there's a guy from the chemical company. He's good. I knew his son. He also worked this part of the state. We've had an account with them, and they're good people, and they're selling us these chemical pesticides. And I know the Monsanto people, and they're good people too, and I'm sure they are. And I'm sure that a lot of people that work in Monsanto have no bloody idea about any of the genetically modified properties of some of the products they're doing. But this is 2012 now. I don't think anybody has an excuse to be ignorant anymore. And this is the big thrust of the message in the information war. You cannot claim ignorance anymore. The information is out there. Let's take advantage of it. It might not be out there forever. This free internet could be a phenomenon. This could be a flamboyant period in 21st century technology, where they actually let us put our websites up and choose our domain names and so forth. We don't know how long it's going to be here for. We need to take advantage of it now. And anybody who's not taking advantage of it, you want to encourage them to do so. We want to be downloading information. Everyone should be writing ebooks, should be publishing things. And so this is a bit of the revolution that we are experiencing, the digital revolution. But the evil is out there. You have an ability to see and know evil. To be able to see it. You can see it in the dealings of men. You can see it in the dealings of politicians and big businesses, in the banks, in the predatory usury system of banking. There's no excuse not to be able to see this. And a lot of Christians still don't want to believe that there's such thing as Satan, believe it or not. If you did a poll, a lot of them actually don't believe in the devil. They believe in God, but they don't believe in the devil. So these are the times we're living in, Alex.
Well, you're right, and very articulate what you've pointed out there. The system called it a worldwide web because the real name is Worldwide Wiretap, and DARPA and the Pentagon on record said in the 60s and 70s they designed what is now the internet as a system of control to be jacked into everything